Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how you can use the new boost and cancel transaction features in Envoy. Have you ever sent a transaction for the wrong amount or to the wrong address? Or used a fee that's way too low, meaning that it could take weeks for your transaction to be processed? Well, fear not. If you ever find yourself in such a situation again, you can now rectify all of those scenarios in Envoy thanks to our boost and cancel transaction features. Under the hood, these new features leverage the Bitcoin replace by fee transaction utility. In simple terms, what's happening is that you're replacing a transaction with a brand new one that pays a higher miner fee. That final part, the higher miner fee, is the crucial piece to the puzzle here because that's what entices the miners to ignore the old transaction and prioritize the new one. When you boost a transaction in Envoy, the only thing that changes between the old and new transactions is the amount of fees you're offering to the miners. This has the effect of placing the new transaction higher up in the transaction queue priority, sometimes called the mempool. When you cancel a transaction in Envoy, you change the recipient address in the new transaction to one from your own wallet, whilst of course also attaching a higher fee to once again incentivize the miners. The end result is that the spend amount minus the increased fee lands back into your wallet. There is still a transaction on the blockchain, however, the transaction shown is just you paying yourself instead of the recipient you defined in the original transaction. So now that we understand the basics, let's understand how easy it is to complete this in Envoy. The steps that follow are demonstrated using a testnet mobile wallet, but these steps are of course applicable to mainnet and Passport accounts. The only difference being with the Passport accounts is that of course you will need to sign via the usual QR code method. If you're unsure on how to do that, check out our other Passport related tutorials. Okay, so first off, let's look at how we can boost a transaction in Envoy. To get started, we need to set up our initial transaction that will be replaced. So what I'm going to do is head into one of my Passport accounts, tap receive and copy that address, and we'll use that as the destination address to send from our mobile wallet. So within our mobile wallet account, I'm going to tap send, paste that address, and then I can enter the amount I want to send. In this scenario, I'm going to send 50,000 sats, and I can then review the transaction details. For this demo purpose, I'm going to intentionally leave the fees on standard. Once I'm happy with the details, I can tap send transaction. Okay, so our transaction has now been broadcast to the network, and as you can see, it is awaiting confirmation. So let's now pretend that I check the status of the Bitcoin mempool or transaction queue, and I've realized that the fee I've used is way too low, and I'm in a rush to get this transaction processed. I can do that by using the boost feature. All I need to do is tap on the transaction and then tap boost. We are then sent to another transaction review screen, where I can tap custom and adjust the fee slider as high as I would like to get the transaction processed. Once I'm happy with the fee selection, I can tap confirm and then tap boost transaction. And we have now replaced the original transaction with a new one, paying to the same recipient address but with a much higher fee. And now at the top of our activity list, we can see our boosted transaction. If I tap on that, I can see all of the transaction details, including the increased boosted fee. And you'll also notice that I have the option to boost the transaction again. This is because the boost feature can be repeated multiple times. You can incrementally boost each transaction by smaller amounts to try and get the transaction included into the next block. But in a scenario where fees are continually on the rise, you may find it useful to be able to boost a transaction more than once. To do that, all you need to do is repeat the steps that have just been demonstrated. Okay, so as you can see, our boosted transaction has now been confirmed onto the blockchain. So next up, let's look at how we can cancel a transaction. So once again, I'm going to create an initial transaction that pays another one of my Passport accounts. But of course, this could be any other external address. Then I'm going to head into my mobile wallet, tap send, paste the address, enter a small amount. This time I'm going to do 25,000 sats. Next, I can review the details and I'll leave the fee on standard. Once I'm happy, I can send the transaction. Okay, so our second transaction is sent and awaiting confirmation. But let's now pretend that we've made a mistake and we would like to cancel the transaction before it is confirmed by the miners. To do that is super simple. All you need to do is tap on the transaction from your activity view and then tap on Cancel Transaction. You'll then see a screen that communicates what is about to happen, as well as the cost of cancelling the transaction. At the time of recording, there is no affordance to set a custom fee for the cancellation. Envoy will handle that automatically in the background for you and will display a breakdown of that on this screen. Once you're happy with the details, all you need to do is tap on Proceed with Cancellation. So Envoy has now broadcast the cancellation transaction, which sends the entire original amount of the first transaction minus the increased miner fee to an address within your own wallet. When we head back to our activity view, we can see the cancellation transaction awaiting confirmation, and the amount reflected is only the increased miner fee.